About 2 years ago, I was driving home from a family reunion pretty late at night, and the drive was about 2 hours. I didn't stay the night because I had to be back for work the following day. Most of the drive was on the roads with dense bushes and trees on either side, the real creepy ones you see in a lot of movies. Anyway, I had been driving about 45 minutes and I was starting to get really tired. You know how sometimes you just suddenly become really tired out of nowhere? Well, yeah, that was happening to me. I knew I wasn't going to last, but I didn't come across any place that I felt I could park and sleep safely. Anyway, after it became clear to me that I wasn't going to find a place to pull up and my tiredness wasn't going away, I did something very questionable. I pulled over to the side of the road onto the grass behind some bushes to try and hide my car from anybody else who was going to come past. The roads weren't empty. I came across another car every few minutes or so. I made a mental note that the time was around 11:22 and then fell asleep. Sometime later I was awoken by a scratching sound. I looked at the clock, 11:50. The sound stopped after a few seconds, and because I was still extremely tired, I didn't bother looking around and simply went back to sleep. I was later awoken by the same sound, and it was now 12:40. This time it really freaked me out because the sound didn't stop. The thought ran across my mind that it was just an animal inspecting the car, but why would it return almost an hour after it had left the previous time? I looked in my rear view mirror and just managed to catch a glimpse of something running away into the forest. Now, at the time, I thought it was the damn hook killer. You know, the one that scratched the couple's car and then slaughtered the guy when he got out to investigate? F that, I thought to myself, so I got the hell out of there. There was a bend no more than 100 yards up the road, and as I came around it, there was a F car parked off to the side of the road with the driver's side door opened. I slowed down just to look to see if anyone was in there. There was no one. Then I looked in my rear view mirror. I didn't see anything. And all of a sudden, this guy comes sprinting around the corner. He starts screaming at me, shouting stuff like, "Hey, hey, you, get out of your car now." I knocked the F out of there and sped off. I never saw the guy again. Moral of the story: don't sleep on the side of a deserted road ever. It was 2001, and my friend and I were 17 and driving back from a late movie to my house one night. I lived in a pretty rural area in Maine, about 20 minutes from the nearest town. As we were driving down the highway through the woods, we passed a median with a car sitting in it, facing in the oncoming direction with all its lights off. Right after we drove past it, it flashed its lights, did a 3 point turn, and started driving behind us. We giggled that, oh, it must be a gang initiation. We're gonna get murdered. Because this was Maine, and that was obviously not what was happening. The turnoff for my road was a few miles away, and this car stayed behind us the whole time. We made the left turn, and the car kept going down the highway. Phew. But 30 seconds later, we realized that the car must have backed up on the highway and made the turn after us. Now we were getting a little worried. There was still one more road to turn down before we got to my house. And the car did the same thing, backed up and made the left after us. Now we were legit freaked. I had a long driveway, and the car followed us right into the driveway and almost up to my house, which had all the lights on because my mom was home We ran into my house just in time to see the mystery car reverse back down the driveway and drive away. To this day, we still have no idea why that car was following us, if they thought we were someone else or if they actually had bad intentions, and only changed their mind when they saw that my house lights were on. Since we only ever saw the front of the car, we didn't get a license plate or a better description than a blue car. I was driving a shortcut from 29 Palms, CA to Albuquerque, NM. 29 Palms is located in the desolate high desert east of LA. The shortcut was also two-lane road through total nothingness, except for passing through Amboy. Amboy is a nearly abandoned town, nearly as far below sea level as Death Valley, with a dormant volcano and lava field on one side and a salt flat on the other. It was also at the time a hotspot for ethnic group activity. So I was driving by myself in the afternoon. I stopped in Amboy and snapped a picture of the city sign, just to prove I was there to friends who dared me to take that route to I 40. I got back in my car and proceeded to drive up into the mountain range between Amboy and I 40. Once I reached the top, I'm driving north through a canyon with high grass on both sides of the road. Up ahead, I see some stuff in the middle of the road. As I approach, I slow down to see a red Pontiac Fiero stopped sideways across both lanes. A suitcase open with clothes scattered everywhere, and two bodies laying face down in the road, a man and a woman. I stopped 100 feet away or so, and the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. Being a Marine, I reached under the seat and pulled out a 9mm pistol and a chamber round. Something seemed very wrong. It looked too perfect, as if it was staged. An ambush. Was I being paranoid? Something was just wrong. Getting out of the car seemed unthinkable. It was the horror movie move. As I scanned the road, I saw a line I could drive, past the guy in the road on his left, swerve to the right side of the woman behind the Fiero, and I would be on the other side. I dropped it into first gear, punched it, and drove the line I planned. I passed the back of the Fiero without hitting it on either of the bodies in the road. I continued forward a couple 100 feet and slowed down, so I could breathe and let my heart slow down. As I looked up into the rearview mirror, I saw that the two bodies had gotten up to their knees, and 20 or so people emerged from the tall grass on either side of the road by the car and the bodies. At that moment, my right foot smashed the gas pedal to the floor and did not let up until I had to slow down for the I 40 eastbound ramp. I will never know what would have happened to me if I gotten out of the car to check on the bodies or stopped my car closer to them. Somehow, I do not think it would have been good. Sometimes real life can be scarier than a movie.